Welcome to the podcast Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook, where we will discuss the latest and most relevant business strategies to help you do one thing extremely well: sell more homes. We'll discuss everything from business planning to lead generation and conversion to past client customer service and everything in between. Join us for authentic conversations and nuts and bolts takeaways you can implement into your business today. And now, Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook. We got Kelly with us today, and since it is the season, it's right around Thanksgiving time. We're heading toward Christmas and New Year's and all of that fun stuff. Kelly, I want to know, before we get into this episode, I want to know, what are you grateful for? What is the thing that, as you're going around, Thanksgiving table or whatever, that you're thinking, man, I am so grateful for this year? What is it?
That's a great question. There's a lot, right? What do I want to choose? I would say, I'm gonna go with my kids. My kids. They're getting older. I have an eighth grader who's going to be in high school next year, which is just wild to think. And I had the chance in this fall to coach both of them in football. My 10-year-old and my now 14-year-old, and both played tackle football, and I had a chance to coach both of them in their season, which was a lot. I mean, there wasn't a night. In fact, last night was the first night I had since August 4th where I did not have at least one football practice between the two teams.
Because coaching one it's a lot of, even being a parent on a team is a lot of time, but you're coaching two. It's a lot of time.
Yeah, running the offenses for both, and which I absolutely love too as well. But you know what's great about it is the fact that just real quick, one of the teams had never really won much of anything. These group of boys have been playing since they were 9. They're now all 13, 14. So fast forward 4 or 5 years later, and they never really won much of anything. And this year it was the first time we played with this team, and we went all the way, not just to the playoffs, but we won 2 games in the playoffs, went to the state championship game. And it was almost a Cinderella story, but we lost 20-25, in the final. And to hear the kids say, "Coach, we never even been to a playoff game before, and now we've got to the final." That was really, really cool to hear. Mm-hmm. Very, very rewarding.
Even not winning, being where they were and showing that work. And I would say too, just a quick thing here, because you said you're grateful for your kids. I think that's such especially your 14-year-old. They're kind of getting to that stage where they don't really want to hang out with you so much. So they want to go off and do cool things with their friends, don't want to hang out with mom and dad as much. But you have the ability to coach their team. So you get that built-in time spent together. And I'm sure you're grateful for that as well, that you're getting to hold on to them a little bit longer in a different way, because they're kind of forced to spend time with you, and it's a great time. So
that's a good way to put it. 1,000%. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as you are all thinking about what you're grateful for this year, and I'm sure it's going to be family and health and all of those things. But in real estate, you're probably also thankful for your database, the people that have worked with you, that have chosen to work with you over the past year, hopefully for years to come, because you are building a list of people that you should be grateful for, that people that are in your sphere, right? The people that are going to come to bat for you, to work with you, refer you, all of that, right? And today we're going to talk about that database and kind of who you keep in that list of people, right, Kelly? So let's get into it, because a database is not necessarily everyone and anyone that you ever meet, right? You could kind of start there, but you got to keep that list a little bit tight. So Kelly, let's get into it.
Yeah, no, definitely, guys. And this is specifically, like you said, qualifying someone to stay in your database. Okay, because here's the problem with the agents, and we all know this, guys, but too many agents don't take the high hanging fruit people. They don't take them seriously enough. Mm-hmm. Okay, meaning we all want the low hanging fruit, right? This is the person you call and they're like, "Yeah, I'm ready to buy a house right now." Great, and we're smiling ear to ear and we're jumping in. This is awesome. But what about the people that are nice to you. They're not the hey screw off people, but they're not ready to do anything right now.
Hmm.
They're not ready. What do you do with them? And there's a lot of different general things you can say about that. Well, we would just just keep in touch with them. And okay, but how? A post-it note? Where's that going to go? And what's going to trigger to do it again in the future? And blah 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 blah. But we just go back to we're with Real Broker and best move ever made in 20 years. Being there 3 years now, it's been amazing. But the Bible really of how to run a effective real estate team that was written in 2002 2003 by Gary Keller, is really very much so applicable today for many things. Not everything. Some things have changed and it's a little outdated, but when it comes to like structure of finances, and that it's really good. When it comes to qualification of converting a lead, is still very good. So one thing they talked about, we just simply implement and stole. But what I found out, Elizabeth, is that most agents don't do this. They may have read that book 3 times and they still skip this part. Why? Because it sucks. It's hard. It's hard. But if the
There's
goal
some work
is
into it.
yeah, there's a work. But if the goal is to build a database, that knows, likes, and trusts you, and kicks off deals for you on a repetitive cycle, year and year over, then this is what you have to do, because anything that's worthwhile takes time. Anything worthwhile takes time, and building a database, building a business in real estate is worthwhile. So instead of just waiting for the next low-hanging fruit person to come across your desk, what you should do is be more proactive with this, and you should actually follow a qualification or 8x8 program. So what this looks like effectively is, after you speak to someone and they're not ready to buy or sell a house right now, but they are nice people, and they said, yeah, sure, permission to follow up in the future, and no go-to real estate agent of choice. Okay, those 2 things. Then you put them in your database, and you get their information, and then you proceed to qualify them to see if they will actually stay in your database, if they're worthy to stay in your database for you to follow up with. Because at the end of the day, guys, you want technology to run 80% of the people in your database. You want to focus your manual efforts and some tech on the top 20% of your database. So old 80-20 rule, and it's very much so alive and well today. You don't want to mess with other people. So you qualify them to see if they are deserving to stay in your 20%. People that you're going to pay attention to, follow up with, stay in touch with, is at a high level. So one thing you do to try to squeeze out of them, because you can't get that figured out the vast majority of the times in one phone conversation. You can't. Or one meeting at an open house. You can't. So you put them on this 8x8 plan, and essentially it's 8 touches over 8 weeks, 1 time a week. That's what it is. Now, we tweaked it a smidge, right? Because I think it's important, because things change over time a little bit, right? And we actually added a few extra steps in that first week. So what we do is this. When you first meet them, they go in your database, and they're put on this plan. This plan will tell you that on the first day, to make sure that you write them a handwritten note. Now, this could be a pre-written note potentially, okay? But you write a handwritten note and you mail it to them, just saying thank you, it was a great conversation. But Kelly, this is somebody that said they're not looking to buy or sell a house. I know. That's the point. Okay. But Kelly, stamps are like 74 cents now. I know. That's the point. Okay. Because no one else is doing it. And what you're doing is you're now vying for the mind share of that person. When they think real estate, they think your name for the future. And if you do it up front on a heavy lift, you can ease off for the next year, 2, or 10, and they will still think of you as long as you stay in front of them on a regular basis. That doesn't have to be handwritten notes necessarily. Okay. So we do that. And then 2 days after they go into the database, then we mail a letter. That this one is already pre-written. We just print it off, right? Pre-written. So we keep it in a folder on Google Drive. We just go in there, boom, print it off, and we mail a letter with a business card. Okay. Now, the business card is it has to be a magnet business card, or what I do now is I actually send them a magnet that has the I can show it. Yeah, it's right over here. But it's a magnet. It's right there. I can't quite reach it. But it's a magnet that basically shows what are the maintenance tips for each month out of the year. Okay. And that you have a list of trades that you'd be happy to set them up with for any of those things. Call me at this deal. Now, if in July it says a reminder to change your air filters, whatever, I'm just making something up, right? That's good information that someone easily can forget because life gets busy. But if they put it on the fridge, they'll see it. And then just at the very bottom, what also do they see? Your name, your information to make a quick call if they ever need anything. right? That's the whole point. Okay. And then 5 days after they go into the database, then you send them something, a postcard or some sort of social proof that you actually sell real estate to remind them that's what you do without putting it in their face. So what we do, for example, is we mail our database one time a month. People know, like, and trust us, right? We mail them one time a month, and it's usually a postcard of some social proof of something, right, that we're doing with our team, maybe some charitable, maybe just houses we're selling in the area, okay? But we always do a couple extra. We have those sitting around the office, and that's what we send. Generic, doesn't say their name on it. It's just like, hey, this is a reminder that this is me. I sell real estate, and whoa, you sell a lot of real estate. Oh, cow. Okay, great. I'm gonna remember that. Now throw it away. Okay.
And these are, I just want to add, all of these that you've talked about so far, and I don't know what's to come, but are pieces of direct mail. Like
Yes.
these are not emails, which are great too. And of course, you should have some of those mixed in, and we might get there. But and that's kind of your automated. But this is all direct mail, so you are making sure the beauty of direct mail as opposed to email is that it's almost 100% open rate. So
Yep.
you are making sure you are getting in front of these people and not leaving it up to chance, right? So I really like that you're starting really heavy with direct mail here.
Yep. That's the idea. Exactly. It's easy to skip, but don't do it. Okay. Then at the end of the first week, the next thing for the week 2 is simply to send a text to them. It's a text that, or maybe it could be a DM in social media if you find them there, right? That just basically lets them ask them the question: did you receive the stuff I've been sending you in week 1? Okay. Week 3, now we're going weekly, right? Week 3 is an email, and we auto send this one that is already pre-written out from our database. Okay, so you don't have to worry about manually doing anything on this one. That reminds them they have access to properties in real time on our website. And here's the link. Check it out here, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Week 4, a phone call. Yes. A good old fashioned phone call. And again, asking them if they have any questions and making sure they understand that you understand they're not looking to buy real estate right now or sell, but you're just calling to make sure you receive these things. And by the way, how am I doing? Okay. Week 5, it's another auto email. It goes out about, we send an email that's pre-written about the 13 costs to be aware of when buying real estate. Okay. And then week 6, a auto text message from database that really just explains what we call walking the fine line. It explains to people in layman's terms that in real estate, there's a fine line between being overbearing and reaching out to someone and calling them all the time saying, how you doing? Even though they're not looking to buy a house, and never reaching out to them to make them feel like it was transactional and that you just cared about earning the commission. Okay. So where's that fine line with you? Because that's all we're trying to do here. If it's too much, let us know. If it's too little, let us know. Okay. And then week 7, we mail again another item of value and or a news article. So picture this could be something like something that has shelf life. It could be a tchotchke that has your branding on it. You could do that, right? Like an envelope opener, that kind of thing. But what I really like is a news article. And it's so simple. So you literally can go to Forbes.com, pick your site, doesn't matter, Yahoo Finance, whatever, and just look at the first article you can find that talks about anything that has to do with the housing market. And then you literally print that off and you simply write, hey, Joe, saw this article, thought of you, Kelly. Fold it, envelope, stamp, boom. That's pretty cool. How many people are doing that? They're not. Okay. And then week 8, another call. You wrap it up with a second phone call over 8 weeks. And then just checking in with them, seeing if they like the article you sent to them, what their thoughts were about the article, if there's anything more you could do for them at this time. And then at that point, you have to move them out of the category database that is for this plan to the appropriate one. And the appropriate category would be anything that has either a time frame, because maybe they talked to you and they said, you know what, matter of fact, I'm going to move this up and let's buy a house. Let's start looking for houses in 4 months, whatever, right? Time frame. B is going to be no time frame, but they were very much so engaged with your communication and you built rapport. So they will go into what we call the SOI category. It's the category that dictates you never bought or sold a house for them or with them, but you built rapport. And now they're going to be on that certain touch program forever and ever. Okay. Or C. And C would be the people who did not interact with you on the 8 weeks of communication. They never replied to you and they didn't, so therefore you have no rapport. And so they are going to go into the pond. We call it archive or qualify. It just doesn't matter what you call it, right? Based on your CRM. Okay. But it goes into the pond. And then that's your 80%. And that's where technology is going to keep sending them properties that they hopefully don't subscribe from or
Still
unsubscribe
don't
from.
forget about them. Don't just trash them completely,
Correct.
but you're not going to spend as much energy,
That's right.
physical energy, manual energy on those people anymore.
Yep. We only put people in trash that are threatening, that basically use a bunch of swear words and tell us to go pound sand, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That kind of thing.
The people you don't
Um,
want to work with ever.
Ever. Exactly. Exactly. We put another tag or category for people who might be already at licensees or agents, right? Already that are in there. But that's it. Outside of that, they had a bad day, said, hey man, just stop calling me, that kind of thing. But they were like not like super rude or threatening. They go into the pond, because you'd be surprised how many times an agent will call that person back in 2 months and they're like nice as pie. Right? Oh yeah, how you doing? Yeah, okay, great. And they carry on a conversation about whatever. And whatever comes out, it comes out. But they were just in a bad mood that day. You caught them at a bad time. Okay. So
Yeah.
that's the deal. And now, based on those three main general buckets: time frame, rapport, but no time frame, or zero rapport and zero time frame, those three buckets, now you have a database that is segmented, that will be predictable if you do certain follow-up plans for each one of those moving forward, which we've done podcasts on before in the past, but maybe we
Yeah.
can continue to specify that again.
Yeah, yeah, I think that'd be great to kind of go back into, once you're through this qualification process, now what do you kind of do
Yep.
for those different plans? And one thing again, I mentioned the direct mail, but you then went on to put out multiple forms of communication. So there were some email, there were text, there were phone calls, direct mail. So if you are going to do a plan, and it might be a little bit different, of course, than what Kelly's running, but make sure that you are not just relying solely on one form of communication, because especially when you're qualifying, it, I would assume, Kelly, that if you're putting them into the SOI, it doesn't mean they necessarily responded to every single piece of communication that you sent out. Maybe they never responded to an email, or, obviously maybe it didn't even pick up the phone. But if they're texting you back when you're texting, because that's their preferred method of communication, and it's still going well, that could also qualify, right? So
Mm-hmm.
spreading out your different uh, mediums to how you're going to reach them is important as well, because people respond to different types of reach outs and communication. So having that
Yeah.
variance is great.
100%. And I think, and that's why there's like at least two of each of
Hmm.
those, right? Because you'd be surprised how many times we send an email out to our database, you know, through our own system or through viral, right? And we do it consistently. And then all of a sudden, we ask maybe for someone to confirm receipt. And all of a sudden someone goes, received, but I
Yeah.
haven't heard them. They've got the same email last 12 months with different emails, but they're on the email list, right? Last 12 months. They didn't say a word. But then all of a
Hmm.
sudden, they didn't say they're ready to buy a house or sell a house, but they just replied and said, got it, thanks.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
like, oh, I didn't know. Did John just see it for the first time? Maybe he did. So it's interesting. So that's why multiple times I think does matter.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, everybody, as you are planning for 2026, make sure that this is something that you start implementing, because again, you got your 80% that are not, I don't want to say not worth the energy necessarily, but you want to save those top 20 for who you're going to really work a little bit harder, pay a little bit more attention to, and you can't do it all. You can't do it all. You
Yeah.
have to have some sort of qualification process. If you have any questions about this or any other real estate topic, Kelly, where can they reach out to you?
Yeah. At Kelly Cook Homes on Instagram. That is preferred. Shoot me a DM and a follow, and I will get right back to you.
Absolutely. And we will see you all next time with another episode. Thanks, Kelly.
All right. See you, Elizabeth.